I'm Clara Hayes, the woman he once claimed to love, before he walked away without a single explanation. I rebuilt my life from nothing, raising my son alone in a small town, convinced the past was buried for good, until the day he showed up at my cafe door with those gray eyes that haunted me for 4 years, and staring at the little boy who has the exact same eyes. Before I share the rest of my story, tell me where you're watching from in the comments. Hit like and subscribe if you believe family deserves a second chance. Trust me, you're going to want to hear what happens next. The bell above the cafe door chimed, but I didn't look up. Not until Noah dropped his handful of pebbles, scattering them across the wooden floor with a clatter that made my heart skip. A black Mercedes had pulled up outside. Sleek, expensive. Wrong for our small Maine town. Then he stepped out. My breath caught somewhere between my lungs and throat. 4 years, and Ethan Blackwood could still make the world tilt sideways. "Mommy?" Noah tugged at my sleeve, but I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Could only watch as those gray eyes found mine through the window. 4 years earlier, Manhattan. I was nobody. Just another art student slinging coffee to pay rent. The cafe was cramped, perpetually busy, and I was running on 3 hours of sleep when he walked in. Ethan Blackwood. I knew who he was. Everyone did. The tech finance wonder kid who'd made his first billion before 30. "Double espresso?" he said, not looking up from his phone. I made his coffee. He left a $100 tip. I ran after him. "You forgot your change!" He turned, really looked at me for the first time. I didn't forget. That should have been my first warning. Ethan Blackwood never did anything by accident. We fell fast. Or maybe I fell, and he just watched me tumble. Coffee dates became dinners, became weekends in his penthouse. I'd sketch interior designs while he worked, the city lights painting shadows across his face. He'd pull me onto his lap, kiss the pencil smudges off my fingers. "What are you thinking about?" I'd ask. "How you're too good for me," he'd say, but his eyes would go somewhere dark, somewhere I couldn't follow. The first crack came at a charity gala. I wore a dress he'd bought. Emerald green, worth more than my semester's tuition. His world glittered with champagne and calculated smiles. A woman in diamonds whispered to her friend as I passed. "She's pretty enough, I suppose, for a gold digger." Ethan's hand tightened on my waist. "Ignore them." But he couldn't ignore them. Not really. Every gift became suspect. Every kiss questioned. He started pulling away in increments. A canceled dinner here, an unanswered text there. The end came on a Tuesday. Rain streaking his office windows. "We need to talk," he said, and I knew. You always know. "Is there someone else?" "No." His laugh was bitter. "There's everyone else. Every person who's looked at you with me and seen dollar signs. Every friend warning me you're playing a long game." "You know me," I whispered. "You know that's not—" "Do I?" He stood, putting the desk between us like a barrier. "You'll get nothing from me, Clara. No money, no promises, no fairy tale ending." The words hit like physical blows. I left with my dignity barely intact, my heart in pieces on his marble floor. The pregnancy test turned positive 3 weeks after he destroyed us. 2 pink lines that blurred through my tears. I tried calling. His assistant informed me Mr. Blackwood was no longer accepting personal calls. I tried his private number. Disconnected. I could have pushed harder. Hired a lawyer, made noise. Instead, I packed my life into boxes and drove north until the skyscrapers became pine trees, until I found a town small enough to disappear in. Morning sickness hit hard. I threw up behind the bakery where I'd found work, hands shaking as I tied my apron. The owner, Mrs. Chen, took one look at me and knew. "How far along?" 8 weeks. She made me sit, brought me crackers and ginger tea. "The father?" "Gone." She didn't ask again. The months blurred together, sketching freelance designs on my laptop while my feet swelled, painting the walls of a tiny apartment soft yellow, crying in the shower where no one could hear. The night Noah decided to come, I drove myself to the hospital, contractions ripping through me like lightning. No hand to hold, no one to call. But when they placed him on my chest, this tiny, perfect person with his father's gray eyes, something fierce and primal rose up in me. Ethan had walked away from me. He would never get the chance to walk away from our son. I'd missed a call while in the hospital, a New York number. The voicemail was brief. Ms. Hayes, this is Martin Ashford from Blackwood Industries Legal Department. Mr. Blackwood has instructed me to. I deleted it without listening. Whatever Ethan wanted to instruct, whatever papers he wanted me to sign, it was too late. We didn't need his conscience money. We didn't need him at all. Noah learned to walk in the bakery kitchen, flour dusting his dark hair. He'd toddle between the ovens while I frosted cakes, babbling in the language only he understood. The town embraced us, the young mother and her boy. They didn't ask questions about the father who wasn't there. I taught myself to stop flinching when I saw expensive cars. Trained my heart not to race when dark-haired men in suits walked past. Built walls so high even I couldn't see over them. Mama, why don't I have a daddy? Noah asked on his 3rd birthday. Chocolate cake smeared across his cheeks. Some families are different, I said, pulling him close. But I love you enough for 2 people. He seemed satisfied. I spent the night crying into my pillow, hating Ethan all over again for the explanations I'd have to give, the questions I'd have to answer. My designs started selling. Small projects at first, then bigger ones. A restaurant in Portland, a boutique hotel in Bar Harbor. I saved every penny, determined Noah would have choices I never did. College, travel, a life bigger than this small town if he wanted it. But the anger was exhausting. Somewhere between Noah's first word, moon, and his first day of preschool, I let it go. Not for Ethan, never for him, but for the boy who painted sunsets with his fingers and left dandelions on my pillow. We were happy. We were enough. Then that black Mercedes pulled up outside our cafe, and I remembered what it felt like to have your carefully constructed world threatened by someone who'd already broken it once. Ethan stood in the doorway, rain darkening his shoulders. Gone was the perfectly controlled CEO. This man looked hollow, haunted. His eyes moved from me to Noah, who was building a tower with sugar packets, oblivious to the bomb about to detonate in our lives. Clara, my name broke on his lips. Is he? His name is Noah. I kept my voice steady, professional, the same tone I used with difficult clients. And you need to leave. Clara, please! Mommy, who's that? Noah looked up, curious but unafraid. Why would he be afraid? I'd kept him safe from men who promised everything and delivered nothing. Nobody, I said, the word sharp as glass. Just someone lost. Ethan flinched, but didn't move. 5 minutes. Please. Mrs. Chen appeared from the kitchen, took one look at my face and scooped up Noah. Come help me find the chocolate chips, sweet boy. When they were gone, I turned on Ethan. How dare you show up here? After 4 years of nothing? I didn't know. His voice was raw. God, Clara, I didn't know about him. Because you made sure I couldn't tell you. The words exploded out, years of hurt given voice. You blocked my calls, disconnected your number. What was I supposed to do? Hire a skywriter? He sank into a chair, head in his hands. I was trying to protect myself. From what? From the gold-digging nobody who loved you? I laughed, bitter as burnt coffee. Congratulations! You protected yourself right out of your son's life. I want to know him. No. Clara, no. I stood, hands shaking. You don't get to walk back in because you're curious. You don't get to break his heart the way you broke mine. But Ethan Blackwood had never learned to take no for an answer. He rented a house in town, a ridiculous mansion by our standards. Started showing up at the park when I took Noah to feed the ducks. He'd sit on a distant bench, watching but not approaching. That man's here again, Noah observed one afternoon. He looked sad. My heart twisted. Some people are sad. Maybe he needs a friend. Before I could stop him, Noah marched over with the determination only a 3-year-old possesses. I watched, frozen, as my son offered Ethan his bag of breadcrumbs. For the ducks, Noah explained seriously. They make me happy when I'm sad. Ethan's face crumbled. He took the bag with shaking hands. Thank you. They fed the ducks together, Noah chattering about his favorite birds, his preschool teacher, the butterfly he'd seen yesterday. Ethan listened like every word was precious, memorizing the child he'd missed. When they returned, Ethan met my eyes over Noah's head. He's perfect. I know. I'm sorry. The words fell between us, too small for the damage done. I was a coward. Worse than a coward. I was cruel. Yes, I agreed. You were. Noah tugged Ethan's hand. You can come back tomorrow, if you're still sad. That night, I stood in Noah's doorway, watching him sleep. His face was peaceful, unaware of the storm brewing. I'd built our life to protect him from disappointment. Now his father, the source of my greatest disappointment, was circling our edges, threatening our peace. My phone rang. Unknown number. Clara? A woman's voice, crisp and cold. Veronica Ashford. I think we need to talk about your situation with Ethan. We met at a coffee shop in Portland. Veronica was everything I wasn't. Polished, pedigreed, perfect. The woman Ethan was supposed to marry before I derailed his life. Let's skip the pleasantries, she said, stirring her latte. How much? Excuse me? To disappear again, permanently this time. She pulled out a checkbook. Name your price. I laughed, surprising us both. You think this is about money? Isn't it always? Her smile was razor sharp. You played your hand well, I'll admit. Showing up with a child just when Ethan's feeling sentimental about family legacies. I didn't show up anywhere. He found us. Semantics. She leaned forward. That boy deserves better than being a scandal. The board won't tolerate Ethan acknowledging a bastard. The stock price... I threw my water in her face. She sputtered, designer makeup running. You little... That's my son you're talking about. I stood, shaking with rage. And if you come near him again, I'll show you exactly what kind of scandal I can create. I drove home with white knuckles, Veronica's threats echoing. She was right about one thing. Noah would be hurt if this became public. Ethan's world was cruel to outsiders, and my baby was the ultimate outsider. But Ethan was at my apartment when I arrived, Noah on his shoulders, both of them laughing. They'd been building a fort, blankets and pillows scattered everywhere. Look, Mama, a castle! I wanted to scream, to rage, to protect. Instead, I smiled. Beautiful baby. After Noah was asleep, I confronted Ethan. Told him about Veronica, about the offer, about my fears. His face went dark. She had no right. She's not wrong. Your world will eat him alive. Then I'll change my world. I laughed, bitter. You can't just watch me. The news broke 2 weeks later. Billionaire's secret love child exposed. The headlines screamed from every tabloid. Photographers swarmed our small town. Noah cried when strangers shouted questions at us. You did this, I accused Ethan when he showed up. You leaked it. I didn't. He looked destroyed. Clara, I swear, I would never. Get out! I was beyond reason, beyond everything but the need to protect Noah. We were fine before you came back. We were happy. He left. For 3 days, I didn't see him. The photographers remained, hungry vultures circling our life. Noah stopped asking to go to the park, stopped smiling. I was failing him, failing to keep him safe. Then Mrs. Chen showed me her phone, a live stream from Blackwood Industries. Ethan stood before his board, shoulders straight. I'm here to address the recent speculation about my personal life. Yes, I have a son. His name is Noah. His mother is Clara Hayes, the only woman I've ever loved and the one I was too much of a coward to fight for. The board erupted. Threats flew. Stock prices, moral clauses, succession plans. I don't care, Ethan said simply. I'm done caring about stock prices more than people, about perception more than truth. Effective immediately, I'm stepping down as CEO. You can't, Veronica's voice, shrill with panic. I can. I am. He looked directly at the camera. I've spent 4 years building an empire. I'd trade it all for the chance to build a fort with my son. The feed cut. I sat in stunned silence. Noah playing quietly beside me. Everything Ethan had worked for, sacrificed for, obsessed over, gone. For us. My phone rang. Ethan. Why? I whispered. Because you were right. My world would have eaten him alive, so I chose his world instead. His voice was soft, certain. If you'll let me. I looked at Noah, building blocks into impossible towers. At the photographs scattered on my coffee table. Strangers trying to capture a story they'd never understand. At the man who'd broken my heart, offering to give up everything to protect the child he'd never known existed. Noah wants to feed the ducks tomorrow, I said finally. You could come, if you're not too busy being unemployed. His laugh was shaky, grateful. I'll bring the breadcrumbs. 6 months later. The snow fell soft outside our window. December painting Maine in shades of white and silver. Noah sat between us on the couch, showing Ethan his drawings. No more Mercedes, no more suits, just a man in a faded sweater, learning to be a father one crayon at a time. This is you, Noah explained, pointing to a stick figure. And this is Mama, and this is me. We're a family. Ethan's eyes met mine over Noah's head, asking, hoping. I'd thought losing everything was the end of our story, but maybe it was just the beginning of a better one. One where love wasn't about what you could offer, but what you were willing to sacrifice. Where trust was rebuilt in small moments. Shared smiles, bedtime stories, hands reaching across the space between. Yes, I said softly, taking Ethan's hand. We're a family. Outside, the snow kept falling, covering the old world in fresh white. A new canvas, a second chance. We were writing our story again, and this time, we'd get it right.
Sometimes the hardest battles we fight are not against others, but against fear. Fear of trust, fear of forgiveness. Love isn't about perfection. It's about sacrifice and second chances. If you believe every family deserves a fresh start, share this story and tell me, would you forgive?